Oh, you gotta love that. Mike was on mute for the first 2 seconds. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 10. So glad that you're here. You might be seeing that I'm in a different room. So I am currently in Dallas, Texas right now. I originally reside in Southern California, just outside the Orange County area. So I am in Texas. I am ready to go. It might be 7 a.m. where you're watching, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., wherever you're watching, but I am ready to go because today is a very special day. We are featuring some of our certified Kim 10 speakers. Now, to give you a little bit of background on what that is, Kim 10 stands for Kingdom Impact Message in 10 Minutes. And there is a speaker academy that people can go through Kingdom Alliance to learn the framework of how to create an impactful talk, a kingdom impact message in 10 minutes. So it's like this. Imagine there was like a TED Talk for believers. If you wanted to be able to share your faith and what God has done and in through you, you can't. Because on the TED stage, you're out and they're never going to let you back. Like they're like a nope, nope, it's a no for me. But here we're like, share that piece. There is breakthrough, there is testimony, there is revival. And every time we go through a speaker certification, it is literally revival in the room. We're just sitting there with like goosebumps the whole time. And I'm just like, this is crazy, but so needed right now. So, anyways, today somebody is having an event, somebody that's inside of our community. They're having an event, a bigger event connected to a business of theirs, and they wanted to feature some of our certified Kim 10 speakers. And so it's amazing to be able to watch these people who said, yes, I want to be a certified speaker. I want to learn this craft, hone my craft, get better at it. For those that are always students, there's a lot of like we have radio show hosts, we have speakers, international speakers, so many different people that are like, I still want to refine and grow that go through this program. So it's super cool. Anyways, there's a little plug there, but that's why I'm ready. That's why I'm like super ready at right here. It's 9 a.m. in Dallas. So just very, very excited for that. So anyways, today we are talking about stewarding your influence. I love talking about this. Now, some of you might hear the word influence, influencer, and you're like, ugh. And if you kind of have that ugh feeling, like type it in the chat. Like, do you have an issue? Do you have maybe not the best correlation with the word influencer or influence? And why is that? I would love to know why that is. So often, people actually come across people who have quote unquote influence, or they think they have influence and they abuse it. We know a lot of people who abuse their influence, abuse their power. One of the things that I have learned over time, especially from being on TV, is I remember people when I was in TV, for example, they would be like, oh my gosh, like I could never do what you do. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, I could never be on TV. I could never do what you do. That's too much attention, too much spotlight. And I said, well, it's just, my job's more public than yours. Like that's how I framed it. I didn't put myself as better than I'm on TV. Look at me. It was my job's just more public than yours. And then I had a creepy moment of I remember being in the grocery store many years ago, and every aisle I went to, somebody was following me. And then I called my dad, who was like nowhere near me. He's like a state away. And I'm like, Dad, somebody's following me. And he's like, okay, well, go do this, go do that. And eventually they like left me alone. And so sometimes people are just creepy, man. Like they see you, they put you on this pedestal. Some people look at people in the spotlight, reporters or actors or musicians or whatever. They look at them as like gods. And I'm just like, no, like that's weird. Don't ever do that. Because when you really understand the responsibility of influence, you most likely will be like, I'm not so sure. When you have influence, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And most of the time, people will let it go to their head. We see people letting it go to their head. On the flip side, I know a lot of people who have a lot of influence and they don't even talk about it at all. They fly way under the radar because they know. Us as human beings, we weren't meant to be gods. Okay, that might be news for some of you. For some of you, like, what are you talking about? We're not meant to have all of this attention, all of this like pressure, but you can do it when you bring God in the mix of it. Then it doesn't go to your head. You are still humble. You're still servant minded. You're still focused on serving other people, and it's not about you. As a speaker, I've gone to many events, and when I see people up on stage, it's almost like a instant of Is this person about themselves and wanting to be heard? Or are they about serving from that stage? Sometimes you can get a mix of both. And I see both. And the ones that are about themselves, it's just like this ego oozes off. And I'm like, dude, like, you're missing the point. Yes, you have gained the skills to get on that stage and you're a great communicator, a great speaker. But you being on that stage actually has little to do with you and more to do with who you're serving, how you're connecting with them, how you're speaking with them. Now, I share this because it's super timely because today we're having some of our certified speakers share their 10-minute story, their kingdom impact message, their Kim 10 with others in front of a crowd today, brand new crowd that has never heard them, which is so cool. I love being able to see the ripple effect of people. And this is the variation of some of the people we have on stage. One has never spoken before. One's a radio show host. One is a worship leader. And another one is a speaker coach who's been doing it for 30 years. Talk about, I mean, it's that literally covers everything. It's so cool to watch that. And watching each one of them in their different stages of influence is also very cool to watch. Because it's hard. When you first get started, when I first got started and I had stage time, I had some ego of like, okay, I'll be honest, ugly. Ego is ugly. Ego is ugly. And I tell people jokingly, but literally not jokingly, God had to humble me so many times, like right at the knees, just chop, 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 that I feel like I have prosthetic legs at this point. So many humbling moments. And I'm so glad that he did. Because if you let just a little bit, then the spirit of pride comes over you. And then it is hard to break off. Every little, like, oh, I'm just going to let a little in, a little in, a little in. It's not a big sin. It's a little. It's a little. Because pride's a sin. Come on. You're making it about you. You're making it about you. So stewarding your influence is so important because it is always bigger than you. Always. Always bigger than you. So a couple points that when I was like really sitting down, when it comes to stewarding your influence, your voice is huge. Your voice is absolutely huge. Now, you might be like, Molly, I don't have any influence. So I'm going to speak to those people, and I'm going to speak to the people who you have a lot of influence, whether it's the following online, in person, whatever. So to the one that doesn't feel like they have influence, to the one they're like, no one listens to me, somebody does. Somebody at some point does. And you just don't listen, you just don't know. And so often, you know what we hear as little kids, or at least I did, I can speak from experience, be quiet. Stop talking. Only talk when you are called upon. Or you talk too much. Or just flat out, I was told I was too much all around. All the time. And you know what? There was moments where I believed those lies of, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't talk. But there was a lot more moments where I had some ego where I was like, you can tell me not to talk, but it doesn't mean I'm going to listen. You know? Like, I mean, I'm just being honest. But so many of us let words spoken over us from a young age, or even now from people who are just spewing their insecurities or trying to climb on top of you because it makes them higher, whatever. They're trying to silence you when really that's the enemy trying to silence you. And your voice matters. Your voice is meant to be mentorship to others. Whether it's you and a spouse, you and a friend, you and your children, you and your audience. And I'm going to be referring to your audience, the people you have influence with, as your flock. We're going to view you as a shepherd and them as a flock, right? Because that's what Jesus did. Like, we are his sheep. Such a perfect metaphor. And for those that are familiar with the word, he will leave the 99 to find the one. Okay, 99, you're good. I got to go find that one because that one matters. Imagine you being that one. And he left the 99 to come find you. There are many times where I feel like he left the 99 to come find me. And then I'm like, no, don't find me. Just, just go. And I'm glad he didn't listen to me. I'm glad he didn't listen to me. Using your voice truly matters. And when I see people go through our Kingdom Speaker Academy, for example, again, so many people who've had no speaking experience, they've never wanted to be on stage, to people who want to be on stage, they want paid speaking opportunities, they want to be able to share their story and their voice, they know it's time. We have all that. It's amazing to see just how people transform in a matter of weeks. Our program is 12 weeks. The certification is optional. And so many people are like, I want to put my money where my mouth is. I want to actually get on that stage and I want to deliver something. There is so much when you step on that stage. And there's a lot of people that I've seen step on that stage with no ego. They're terrified, but they're like, I'm going to steward this moment because spotlight's on me. This message is about them, or I should say, this message is for them. How can I deliver it the best way possible? Oh, I just love it, you guys. So, stewarding your voice is a big part of influence. Now, let's talk about the flock. I'm excited to talk about this. And what was crazy is that when I was thinking about this morning, I got brought back to some notes that I took from a sermon that my pastor, Mark Francie, with Oceans Church in Irvine, California, he was talking about training shepherds. And this was back in February. And when he talked about this, I was like, oh my gosh, preach. Give me more. I was just like a sponge, like, give me. I was so hungry for it. So I'm going to share some notes with you because this is so timely when it comes to stewarding your influence, because you have to look at it as a flock, whether you have like one or two sheep or you got tens of thousands of sheep, like you have a flock that you're responsible for. When you think about it this way, like a pastor of a church, they're responsible for that flock. What they do, what they don't do, what they say, what they don't say, they are ultimately responsible for. Crazy to think about, right? Like it gets you to kind of think, okay, what are my actions? What am I saying? Like it really gets you to assess, which you should, because you need to steward that. So the responsibility of shepherds is a heavy one. And I'm gonna be reading some of these notes here because this is like so perfect. Does anybody ever have notes from like a year ago or a couple months ago where you're like, oh, this is so on time? These notes are from February of this year. And the Holy Spirit's like, bring them up. Here we are. Like you never know when notes will come in handy to really help somebody, or for me in this case, this life, what I got from this sermon. So God wants to elevate good shepherds. God wants to elevate good shepherds. And what it takes to become a good shepherd, there's definitely refining with that. Like God's not going to give you something before it's time. He's not going to give you something that's going to destroy you. He's always going to prepare you. He's always going to prepare you. Are you going to listen? Are you going to choose to listen? That is the key. A lot of people want the elevation without the preparation. But how's that even possible? How do you build a house up without getting the foundation first? The prep work to know this beam goes here, this bolt goes here, this line of electricity or whatever goes here. Like you can't go up, you can't elevate without building the foundation before that, prepping to know where things go and what to do. And sometimes you got to scrap the plan and start all over again. Like he wants to prepare you. You want that too. Otherwise, you're going to be worse off. We've all seen those people that have influence that probably shouldn't, but they do. And some are using it and it's not great. And some are using it and it's absolutely amazing. I want to help you be on the amazing side. That is really going to help your influence become a legacy that you leave of how you helped build people, leave them better when you found them, and help show them the way. Because for many of us, you might not have had somebody show that showed you the way. You might not have had somebody that showed you the way. So a couple things here out of these notes. God has given you strength to serve, but not for your own purpose. That's something that we have to battle in our mind with. And that is huge when it comes to shepherding people. Too many Christians know the good shepherd, but they don't want to shepherd. Let me go in on that for a second. A lot of Christians, a lot of believers know who the Lord is, the good shepherd, right? We are his sheep. He is the shepherd, but they don't want to shepherd. This is a big one when it comes to influence. People want to be elevated, but then they don't want to duplicate. Not everybody's meant to duplicate, but even into one person, showing people the way, using that voice, stewarding that influence. One of the things that drives me nuts online, for example, small rant, is when you see people that have influence and they only show you the highlight reel. They don't show you any behind the scenes. They don't show you the raw and the real. They don't even show you some of the struggles. They just show the highlight reel. So you're like, well, how'd you get there? Like you literally left no breadcrumbs, no roadmap, no nothing. So from where I'm at to where you are, how do I get there? How do I get there? A lot of people don't do that because they're like, oh, like, I don't think people can hack it. I don't think people could do it. If they knew, ... People are more resilient. They're stronger. than you think. We are made to do hard things. Truly, truly made to do hard things. And shepherding others, that is a hard thing. Because guess what? Think of a sheep. Think of the sheep. Like, it's like, okay, come on, sheep, come on in. Nope. Runs off, goes the other direction, blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to herd them in. You have to, on all sides, you need help. You need to herd. You need to guide. You need to lead. Because I think they said this about sheep, like, sheep are kind of dumb. They're kind of dumb. You kind of have to like tell them what to do. Now, I'm not calling people dumb. I'm really not. People do need guidance, though. They 100% need guidance. A lot of people have not had the right guidance in their life. And you could be the one. You probably are the one. Inside Kingdom Alliance, we always talk about, we build leaders who build leaders. We shepherd people. We lead people. Because right now we are seeing that gap from people who are like, I need to be led, to the leaders. And there's so much confusion in between. And we need to bring people to the other side of like, here's how to do it. Now, it's up to them if they want to do it or not. But at least give them the chance. Stand in the gap. In our Leadership Academy inside of Kingdom Alliance, we talk a lot about standing in the gap for people. People are messy. They're hurt. They sometimes will shoot their hurt at you like an AK-27, just AK-47, whatever it is. An AK, like unloading the clip of like spewing all of their hurt. And I've done that too at times. And I'm like, oh, that was bad. We don't do that anymore because that's not right. You got to deal with that stuff in private. But a lot of people spew it in public because they don't know how to deal with it in private, or they don't have a circle where they can really be able to see and show their blind spots. Truly. So a lot of believers know the good shepherd, but they don't want a shepherd. And a lot of people have not even seen a shepherd at all. They've never been exposed to it because a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to do that. It's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of work, but this life isn't just about you and your wants. There's so many other people connected to it. And some may be thinking like, no, that's not for me. And that's okay. I'm speaking to the people this is for. I know I'm connected with people that want to have influence, that do have a lot of influence, that want to grow in that area. One of the courses I created within the last, I think, probably year and a half that's inside Kingdom Alliance is building your influence. One of the things I love walking people through is how to build your influence in a godly way versus the world way. The world way is just a cheap imitation. It's God trying to imitate the real one, a creator. The enemy can only imitate. He cannot create. He can only imitate. Literally, think about that. Are we just imitating what we see, or are we trying to create something that is real and ingrained in us? That likely is in there already. It's just dormant. Got to wake it up. Get out of hibernation. Get out of that slumber. Let's go. Now is the time. We all see how crazy it is out there. We all see people that are leading and we're like, I wish there was somebody better. Well, guess what? It takes people to be like, okay, then we need to do better. I need to make a difference. I need to go do something about it. If we keep waiting for the next person to do it, it's never going to truly get done. And we're always going to be like blaming like the system or this or that, like, oh, nothing's happening. For example, when I got fired from my news job because I was helping people transform their minds, transform their bodies, they're like, you're out of here. When I got fired, I said, I'm getting out of the system. I'm never going to have a job where somebody tells me what to do again, ever. I don't care how hard it is. I'm never going to do that. And I didn't. I never picked up a job where somebody told me what to do again. Never. I always had the freedom in my own schedule. Now, with that being said, actually, that's not true. I did have one little like side gig of doing a fitness class for somebody part-time. Anyways, aside the point, I was like, why did that just pop up? Squirrel moment. When I decided I do not want somebody to tell me what to do anymore, like it was a hard road. It was a hard road, but I didn't want to go back into a system where I was like, I don't like where all this is going. I don't like it. And if you go into somebody's system, you have to play by their rules. I want to build my own system and play by the rules. I want to create a system that other people can be a part of so they can have freedom to create rules and they have some guidance and boundaries, but still freedom. A lot of the times when I was in the news, they're like, don't do that. Show less personality. Talk less over here. Do this. Be more hard. Be this. Cut your hair shorter. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, yo, I am not your puppet on strings. like waiting to dance when you say dance. I don't care what it took to get in here. Like, we're done and I'm out. I am out. And so many of us are playing the puppet part. So many of us are playing the puppet part when I know a lot of us have influence that is waiting to be awakened, waiting to be just like it's lying dormant and it's like, wake me up. I'm ready to go. And many of us have influence and we don't know how we're stewarding it. We think, no, somebody else is going to do it, or nobody listens to me. Stop that. I don't care if you have one person that follows you. That's influence. It took one person to start following Steve Jobs, to believe in him. It took one person for Oprah Winfrey. It took one person for Jeff Bezos. It took one person for, you fill in the blank. One person. Jesus had 12. That's not a lot. And from that, millions and probably billions, I don't know, like Christians are all around the world. Like that is a huge ripple effect. Started with a few and turned into many. So we always want the many first, but like, trust me, most of us are not ready for that. We really aren't. We really aren't. So when you steward your influence, when you truly are like, okay, whether it's friends, spouse, siblings, sons, daughters, a community, whatever it looks like, however big it is, understand, Lord, understand and ask, Lord, how do you want me to lead these people? Give me eyes to see what you see. Show me the way, because the world's way is going to make it about you. God's way is making it about them. God's way to us is always making it about coming after us and him giving us guidance. And that book is a manual. The Bible is a manual that's pretty clear. We just kind of create gray areas because we don't like how clear it is. We don't want to follow all of them. Truthfully, let's be honest. So at the end of the day, I love talking about this topic because it is so powerful when you see a godly influencer versus a worldly influencer. And the thing that I love what we're doing here at Kingdom Alliance is we're help raising up more just kingdom influencers, like people that want to serve others, grow the kingdom, and be able to just see where it goes from there. And as a byproduct, they get a benefit personally, professionally, financially, communally. I mean, you meet some of your like most favorite people in the whole world, and then you're in this community with other mission-minded people. Many people are looking for that. And that's you. Type kingdom in the chat below on any platform. Like, I would love to be able to connect with you. So many people are like, oh, I know I need to use my voice. How do I grow my influence? I know I'm supposed to do this thing. For any of you here, we talked about business the other day. Talked about business in this series so far. And if you have a business that you need to start, that you have started, you need influence to grow that thing. You need to steward your business by stewarding your influence and growing it. And if you're like, how do I even do that? I would love to connect you in with some resources that over the last decade or so, the Lord has planted in my heart, but not just for me, so many other experts of how you can steward your gifts and grow in other skills so you can really be able to expand what he has put in your heart. Just because we've been given gifts doesn't mean that we can just rest on that. We have to sharpen them. Iron sharpens iron. Have to be in that community that does that. There's a lot of people out here trying to dull that blade. No. And if you don't sharpen it, just gets dull and then it's useless. And you're like, what's the point? There's a huge point. A huge point. You were made for so much more. So I can't wait to hear what you guys are learning, what your takeaways are when it comes to influence. Just please share. Please share. I love being able to do these with you. This has been so much fun. We're on day 10. We got 21 more days to go. I think there's 31 days here in September, but just very excited for all of the continued conversations that we get to have. So have a wonderful rest of your day. I know I'm going to have an amazing day because today we get to highlight what God is doing in these speakers' lives and go kick some revival open in this room. It's going to be incredible. Incredible. Dallas, Texas will never be the same after this. All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow for day 11. Bye, everyone.